how has the cannabis industry changed in 2022? What do you think, Kevin? What do you think the biggest change has been?
I think the biggest change has been the sweeping of the legacy operators out of the system due to the inadequacies of how this was rolled out. And it's not just in California, it's in almost every state. And
I say that all the time.
Yeah, I think that that's really the biggest change, is that this is the year that you saw it really kind of finish the sweep. And primarily it's just due to lack of capital. And so what we have is a war of operators based off of those that can gather capital and those that can't. And I think that that's really the first time in all the years I've been in the industry that I've seen it, emerge in that fashion. It used to be who had better product, who could get product to market. But now it's really about who can survive negative cash flow.
Right. It's so true. Like, one of the biggest things I've seen in 2022 is that equity investment has really dried up, and everybody's transitioning over to debt investment or debt facilities, which really, if you're a small operator, even a mid-sized operator, you risk losing your company if you have to do debt facilities as the means of funding your company, right? And then the other thing I've really seen that's been very disheartening to me is to see where the money is flowing, whether it's debt or equity, right? Equity is really hard. Debt seems to be a little bit easier for some companies, but who they're funding literally has the worst shit on the market. Like, that's who they're, pardon my French, but that's who they're funding, is people who have really bad product. And I'm like, this is supposed to be about medicine. This is supposed to be about healing. I don't want the worst product for my lupus. I don't want that. I want the best product if I'm using this as medicine. But recreational people should also want the best product, right?
They should. It's just, I think that what you have is you have this incredible entrance into the industry from the CPG groups. So the consumer packaged good groups are coming in, and they look at cannabis as a commoditized product that, it'll put it in a bag and it'll sell and people consume it, and they're not very discerning, and it just has to be good enough. And I don't think that any of them really understood the relationship the customer had with cannabis, because for over 100 years you had to buy it illegally. So it's the only product in the everyday use of most people that you have to go break a law to consume.
Right.
And so the attachment to the product was far greater than I think most of these people understood. And when investment comes in, it comes into groups that they understand. So they don't understand craft operators. They don't understand the legacy mentality. They understand the CPG mentality. And, it's just incredible, because you're watching an absolute ass beating occur across the world. And you'd think at some point someone would realize we're going the wrong way. But it blows my mind to see how it doesn't stop and the money keeps moving. So it's a really good education on how industries are built, because this is really the first time I've been involved in building an industry. And the only one that I got to see created was really the computer industry, because I lived in the Bay in the 80s. So I watched tech sweep in, and the similarities are so uncanny. They're the same.
Exactly.
Huge optimism, huge money, and then total collapse. There's going to be no computers. The computer world's a fraud. And that's cannabis, where it's going to be the greatest product ever. It's the worst product in the world. And then now we'll find some stasis. But it's just so interesting to see how industries are born.
It's really amazing. I actually come out of tech. I'm a database architect by trade. And so I was there for all of the tech boom. And I remember, like, if you were a technical person and you were seeing money flow in Silicon Valley, and you were like, you're really going to give $2 million to an app that's going to figure out when your dog's going to poop, and you think that's going to be a moneymaker? Like, everybody who was in tech knew that wasn't going to be a moneymaker. And I think we're seeing the same thing in cannabis. We're like, you're really going to give them $60 million? Like, you're really going to give them $60 million that they're going to burn through in 1 month? Really? When there's so many good craft cannabis operators that have just better everything. And I think at some point, I agree with you, there will be, well, we're seeing it right now. We're seeing the collapse, and there's going to be some type of stasis or market correction that will allow for those. I'm hoping that some of those people that are in a crunch now make it. Like, I'm really hoping for that. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I'm hoping. I have hope.
We see it here in Humboldt, where you have this huge amount of real estate and licenses for sale, but they're not sitting. They're being sucked up and sold, because the people who are coming in look at it as a different business than the ones who were here prior. And so these small craft canopies, I know that they'll continue forward. It's just that you change the operators, but that's life. You know, there's always an evolution and there's a culling of the herd, and it's just kind of tragic to see it when it's in your neighborhood. It's just intimate. But I see that the small operator who's getting shelled is really no different than the large operators that I go work with, because they're in such a heavily leveraged position and they miscalculated their grip on the market, and they really miscalculated on open borders. So every one of these operations that can produce 700 to 900,000 pounds of cannabis, they don't have an outlet for all of it. And so you're building infrastructure that you can only really sell about 20% of what you're totally producing. And I can't imagine having to go to the investor meetings and tell the investors, I know we promised you we were going to take over the earth, but really we need another raise. And so I just see it as big and small. And so I just know in another year, we should see really a cleansing of the system. And what we're seeing too is the customers are unhappy with what they get at the store. Yeah. And a lot of it is you're paying a lot of money for a product that's just really commercially created. And so if I had to pay $11 for a McDonald's hamburger, I'd be upset. If I can pay 99 cents, I'm okay with it.
Right.
And I think that's, it's these realities that you can't create craft at scale.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
They're oxymorons.